I'm Stuart Cameron. Welcome to Friday's look at rugby. Last weekend there was a winning start for Melrose in the Premiership with a 27-14 win over Edinburgh Academicals, a result which puts them at the top of the table on points difference. Gala were the only team from the 10 in the league to score a try bonus with 4 touchdowns in a match, but it wasn't enough to beat Ayr at Millbrae, although they did manage a losing bonus to end the day on 2 points. Hawick also got a losing bonus as they got to within 2 points of Curry. In the BT Cup, all 5 local teams went through to the second round of the competition, with Kelso getting there without playing their match, as Hillhead Jordan Hill couldn't get enough players together to contest the game. I'll give you a rundown of the fixtures later in the programme. I'll also be chatting with Gavin Kerr, the new Peebles coach, but let's focus on the National League, which begins tomorrow. I was at BT Murrayfield for the launch, and 3 of our 4 teams in Division 1 were represented. Unfortunately, there was no one there from Jed Forest, but 3 players from Kelso, Peebles and Selkirk were there. Well, with me is Kieran Cooney, who's the development officer of Selkirk, obviously playing for Selkirk now as well. Murray Hastie from Kelso in the middle, and Ross Brown from Peebles. And, of course, we're just ahead of the new season. Murray, Jamie coming in, of course, is new blood, but hugely experienced, won the Scottish Coach of the Year as well, and obviously has his own style.
Yeah, it's a very easy style to understand. Well, most of us get it anyway. Jerry and Jamie work well together, and the boys have really stuck in well. So really looking forward to getting the partners on the field and seeing how it goes this Saturday.
Now Ross, of course, talking of coaches, new regime under Gavin Kerr and Drew Moore as well. How's that working out?
Yeah, it's been really good. Obviously some fresh blood into the club that are really looking to do well. So obviously Drew's a Peebles man, so he brings a lot of experience knowing the club and things like that, and Gavin brings all his international caps with him, all his experience with that. So no, it's been really good pre-season for us, and we're just looking forward to Saturday. You had a warm-up with Murrayfield Wanderers up here, yeah. But also a competitive game against Gala, which certainly in the second half the boys I thought gelled very well. Yeah, no, that was a tough first game for us. Obviously, no one wants to play a really hard first game at that first up, but it was good for us to sort of set our standard. We've set our standard there, and we've got to live up to that for the rest of the season and really improve on that game on game. Now, Kieran Cooney, of course, former Melrose, former Kelso as well, now with Selkirk, so you're getting around the clubs quite nicely. Obviously, Selkirk against Melrose, 39-3 at one point after 50 minutes, but everyone's talking about that comeback. 5 tries in the second half. Not many teams will do that against Melrose this season.
No, I think that's what was quite pleasing, the way we actually came back in the second half, the attitude of the players, and the fact that we were causing Melrose a lot of problems, breaking them down and creating quite a few opportunities, and we're just a bit disappointed that the first 30 minutes in defence let us down. But I think if we can cause teams problems like that at that standard, I think we're going to do very well in the league this year.
Now, what I notice about Selkirk, I think Darren Clapperton's probably the oldest, or certainly on the pitch against Melrose, 24 years old. He's the oldest. Lots of young blood coming through at Selkirk.
Yeah, definitely. Just one that stands out is probably the full-back at the moment, Josh Welsh. Obviously, he's been able to come in. I think he was playing on the wing last year because obviously Fraser Harkness was there, but he looks absolutely fantastic at training. Big, strong lad. Breaks lines, and I think he's going to be a fantastic player for us this year if he can keep injury free and keep his confidence going. So,
well, I'm going to ask the same question to all 3 of you because it's very, very relevant. Obviously, we've got Jed Forest who aren't represented here today, so we'll talk to them no doubt at a later date. But Murray, in terms of Kelso, first of all, being in National League, obviously one step away from the big boys in the Premiership. There's always talk about whether a club can subsidise actually being in the Premiership, but at the same time you want your players to play at that highest level, otherwise you tend to lose them to the bigger clubs. How do you see that?
Well, at the end of the day, you really want to get to the highest level possible, and I think everybody, Jamie said it as well, everyone at the club wants to get there, and if you don't want to get there, there's no point in being at the club. So the whole point of us being there is to get to the highest level possible, so that's what we're aiming for, and hopefully we can do it this season. And Peebles, of course, under Gavin Kerr?
Yeah, that's just the same with us, as Murray said. It's really a building process, I think. Obviously we were promoted a couple of years ago. So second league in the National League now. Second year, in the National League. So we'll really be looking to build on last year's performance and then hopefully in the next couple of years push towards promotion, towards the Premiership.
And in terms of Selkirk, of course, always knocking on the door, nearly getting there but not quite. Maybe this year.
I think it's key that we get a good balance between the units, between the forwards and backs. Definitely playing for Kelso last year. I noticed there was a a difference in those units. So I think we've got a good balance at the moment. We've got a good crop of young players come through. There's two fantastic young props at the club. But I think it is just bringing the youth through, and it's a credit for Selkirk. They can put 90% of the team out from Selkirk. So it is like, I agree with Ross, it's a building process. It's going to take a few years to bring those players to mature and get them kind of seasoned, hardened, as they say. So if it's not this year, hopefully it will be very, very soon.
Well, the best of luck to all of you. It's going to be a long, hard season, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Former Scottish international Gavin Kerr has stepped up in his coaching career by becoming head coach of Peebles this season, taking over from Peter Wright. Well, Gavin, first of all, congratulations on being head coach of Peebles. Obviously, in your coaching career, this is another step up.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's a big step for me. I've done a little bit since retiring down in Manchester when I finished up at Sale. Came back north, and I've been, doing a little bit with Melrose over the last couple of seasons. So it is a big step up for me, definitely. So it's going to be a big learning curve. Yeah.
But luckily, of course, you came on board a few months ago prior to the season, so you've been able to get to know the Peebles players and obviously, work with them. And from what we saw tonight, I mean, there was some good play there.
Definitely, I got together with Drew early on, just so we could kind of set our stall out what he wanted to get from the season. And we've put a good bit of work in over the last couple of months. The lads have worked hard on the fitness, and we've tried to fit in the rugby bits as we've gone along. We obviously could now, we're starting to ramp it up, because after that game we can see there's pieces we need to work on. But on the whole, I was really pleased. The lads, as I say, they're stuck in well, and Gala are a good side. They've got some good attacking players. But on the whole, I was pleased. Yeah, it's good.
What I like to see as well, that the boys' heads never went down for 1 minute, and Greg Rayburn, of course, keeping the scoreboard ticking over in the first half. 21-9 at the break. You were still very much in it. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I was quite pleased. We weren't screaming on instructions all the time. We're trying to get them to make their own decisions. And I thought that they did well on that side. We've tried, as I say, in the weeks building up, to try and give them a bit more responsibility themselves anyway. But as you say, we're still there and thereabouts at half time. We just letting a couple of loose tries. But in terms of a defence, I was fairly pleased, to be honest. Yeah, it's been good. Now, a couple of seasons, of course, it's been under the direction of Peter Wright, who's now moved to Selkirk, so he's still very much in the borders. And of course, Selkirk and Peebles in the same National League, so that'll be quite interesting as well. But this is the great thing about the National League: Peebles, Selkirk, Kelso, and Jed Forest. Some tremendous local derbies there.
We've now got quite a few border sides in here, so it's going to be interesting. Good competition. It's good to get a bit of border rivalry. It's what I kind of grew up with. And it's good to have. I think it's going to be a good competitive league. I think you've got a couple of sides dropped out. Well, you've got Aberdeen, and you've got likes of Mar. Teams that I've never played against. So it'll be interesting to see how they pan out as well.
Of course, every coach has their own way of doing things. Peter Wright had his way for a couple of years. What's the Gavin Kerr way of coaching?
I just want to try and help the players as much as I can. Try and get the best out of them. Try to make it enjoyable. That's why I started playing rugby, is because I could enjoy it. I don't want to coach them too much, if that's the way of saying it. I want to give them something to work with. And let them go ahead onto the pitch and use it, not kind of make them into these kind of robots. That's not what I'm looking for. I want them to go out there and be able to express themselves and enjoy the games. And
there's some great individual talent out there. Obviously, Greg Rayburn, Donald Anderson, who's been around for years and still playing some great rugby. Played some great rugby tonight. But some of the youngsters, Connor Blythe coming up as well, and still quite a few of the old heads from Peebles as well. So there's a nice mix there, and a lot of them local people.
Definitely. I mean, as I say, a lot of these lads they're new to me. There's a few familiar faces that I know from the past, but we have got a good spread. We've got some good young lads coming through as well, who can take control on the pitch, which is good. It's good to have that mix of experience, but also some young lads that can take it on their own shoulders. So it's good. It's going to be interesting.
Gavin Kerr, whose team enjoyed their first competitive win last weekend against Greenock Wanderers with over 70 points on the board. Now tomorrow in the Premiership, Melrose are away at Stirling County, both teams winning last weekend. Gala are at home to Curry, Hawick host Heriots, who they beat twice last season, while the Edinburgh Derby is between Edinburgh Accies and Boroughmuir, and Glasgow Hawks are at home to Ayr. In the National League, the derby is Peebles v Kelso at the Guides, and that will be Radio Border's featured match tomorrow with Stuart McFarlane and Dale Clancy reporting live from the game. Selkirk visit Biggar and Jed Forest travel to Hillhead Jordan Hill, providing, of course, that the Glasgow team can get a team on the pitch. In National 3, Hawick YM visit RHC. East League 1 sees Hawick Quins take on Portobello at home. Langham will play a derby against Hawick Lindeen at Milntown, while Berwick are on the road at Linlithgow and Duns make the trip to North Berwick. In East League 2, Earlston are at home to Leith. St Boswell's look to extend their unbeaten record when Pennycook come calling. Super Scoreboard Live is on air from 2 o'clock tomorrow, and the Sunday Rugby Roundup is at 10 a.m. I'll be back next Friday, but that's it for your rugby tonight.